Thanks for tuning in to That's What I Call Marketing, the Cannes Sessions. Brought to you by Freedman International, the international campaign experts taking the pain out of your multi-market campaigns. Well, welcome to That's What I Call Marketing, the Cannes Sessions and our daily roundup. This is our first daily roundup, catching up with all things that went on today at the Cannes Festival. Amazing first day. It is incredibly hot here, so I'm trying to stay in the shade as best as I can. I'm not complaining, of course, but it is incredibly hot. So much went on today. Really kind of starting the day off, trying to figure out where all the great and good stuff were on. We had Apple kicking off the whole event. I know there's a ton of people queued to get into that, and I got to speak to Jen Cartner and Stephen Duggan from Kellogg's about that, and also the session with Sir John Hegarty. So let's check that out. Jen, Stephen, thanks a million for joining me. I'd love to get your quick overview of everything that's got on in Cannes today. It's day one, but you've seen quite a lot.
Well, we wanted to hit the ground running, Connor, and make the most out of every moment. And so we started at the opening session with Apple. I mean, quite a powerful message actually on creativity, and specifically the importance of human instinct and human creativity. And I think this week we're going to hear a lot about AI.
Yeah.
It was fantastic to start the morning with a great reminder that the superpower all of us have is human creativity, enhanced by, of course, the power of AI.
Absolutely. Stephen, how about you? What's been your highlight?
Well, we've just actually come out with Sir John Hegarty, and always inspiring to see John. And I think, undoubtedly AI is a big topic and a big theme. Likewise, it was for him today. I think his message on AI was very much, he doesn't see it as a tool, but more of a collaborator. And I think that was a really strong message. Again, the importance of creativity, as you would expect from Sir John, is coming through really strongly. And the fact that you need to be bold, and be bold in terms of your creative decisions, because ultimately that's how you will win. So again, really good, strong session, and just the fundamentals of creativity and the importance of it.
Amazing. And Jen, what are you looking forward to now for the rest of the week?
Well, we want to be inspired by a lot of the work, right? So you can hear so many phenomenal speakers, and I have to say there's a couple on my hit list. Tomorrow morning, Serena Williams will be a really amazing tennis player, so I really can't wait to hear what she has to say about life, about creativity, and of course about the game of tennis. But I also just want to immerse myself in inspiring brands, inspiring work that is literally changing the world. Again, thinking back to this morning, we heard a powerful case from Apple about their AirPods and how they're democratizing hearing aids and destigmatizing hearing aids with the work they've done with AirPods. So, I want to walk out of here feeling more energized and inspired to do work that moves people and really matters in the world.
Amazing. Stephen, how about you?
Similarly, I think, and you'll hear about a bit of us with regard to Kellogg, like we're really on a journey with regard to the Kellogg brand in particular and effectiveness. So all the work sessions, I'm particularly looking forward to, and understanding kind of best-in-class case studies. And I think ultimately, my aim from this week is to come back inspired and bring that inspiration back into our teams and our businesses to inspire them to do bigger and better and make bolder decisions as well with regard to creativity.
Amazing. Well, listen, thanks a million, and good luck the rest of the week, and we'll see you around, I'm sure. Thanks a million. I headed on down to the Little Black Book area. It's a great space. I also got to pop into Brand Innovators and managed to catch Jessica Jensen talking on a panel there, and very quickly got to say hello to her. Hoping we can line Jessica up for an interview. We tried to get it for Cannes, but it didn't happen, so hopefully we'll get that later on in the year for you. Obviously, she is CMO at LinkedIn now. But at the Little Black Book, I got to speak to Leah Power, who heads up the Institute of Canadian Agencies, and they are here to talk to brand marketers about what Canada has to offer. So let's hear from Leah. I'm joined here by Leah from the Institute of Canadian Agencies. Did I get that right?
You absolutely did. We're also called the ICA for short.
Okay, that's good.
That's easier.
Listen, you're here, we're on the Little Black Book Beach, I got that right, and you're here, I guess, to kind of promote what Canadian agencies can bring to the world.
That's right. We believe that brands need more Canada. It's something that we've really been showcasing as a manifesto of the ICA for the past 2 years. We believe Canadian agencies are ready to export their creative and strategic expertise to brands around the globe, and that's doing marketing for other markets outside of Canada. We punch well above our weight. We place amazingly when you think about the Work Creative 100 and Cannes. When you consider our population, just the sheer magnitude of our geography, the various markets and how culturally different they are from each other, Vancouver to Halifax to Toronto to Quebec, all so culturally different, and just the sheer depth and breadth of demographics that we reach in our own country, and thinking about how you can use that around the world.
Yeah, it's a real advantage. People don't probably know it who may not know Canada, and I spoke to Janelle Ricketts from IKEA about that, and and actually, as I was saying to you earlier on, the company I work for is owned by a Canadian company, and you forget the scale of the country, but the diversity of the country and how that has to get to reflect in the work. And that's a real, I think, opportunity if you're kind of a global marketer and you're trying to figure out, like I'm working with Freedman International here this week, and they're all about helping brands, transcreate and translate locally. It's such a huge challenge, but if an agency in Canada is used to dealing with that, that's a great starting point if you're a global brand.
Right, and I think from a global brand perspective, putting that in the brief, adding a Canadian agency to your pitch list, and ensuring that even if you're working for a network, how are they utilizing the Canadian contingent, and really making sure that you're getting your money's worth out of that network relationship and using what the Canadian agency's got.
Yeah, and money's worth. Canada's probably good value, in terms of some other markets. I'm not going to bash the US, but it's probably more expensive, but you have that kind of, the same kind of sort of reach, diversity. So it's a really great opportunity for global brands.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a finance person at heart. I worked agency side for many years doing finance and operations. So that is something that always I was trying to shout from the rooftops. There is dollar value there, but it has to be supported with creative and strategic chops. You cannot go to a market just for the value. It's like the cherry on top of the sundae, in my opinion. And hopefully that does cause brands to start looking at things a little bit differently. And then there is a foundation. We understand brand equity, how to build brands. We understand performance marketing. Canada is a very big performance, and it's about figuring out what that right mix is. And we do a lot of work. So we license FE, so we run FE Canada Awards. And we have, that gives us, by virtue of that, a lot of data about what makes great work that works in Canada. And a lot of markets like ours have to use London and New York data. And I always say there's a Venn diagram. There's stuff that works, but there's stuff that doesn't work. And so we do a lot of work in our market to make sure that our client and agency side marketers have the data that they need in order to get real results and effectiveness.
And you've got effectiveness, creativity, big market, lots of great experience. You're here for most of the week. If people are here, this is going to put this out every day. So if people are around Little Black Book Beach, I always find it so hard to say, but you'll be here most of the week.
We're here the whole week. We've got a table. We'd love to meet brands from around the world, anybody with a global remit. So even networks and brands alike, we want to speak to you and just extol the virtues of using Canadian agencies.
Amazing, and Canadians are so sound. As I keep saying to people,
so nice.
You're so nice. You're so nice, but you're good. Canada is like America's attic. It's where all the good stuff is.
we're the hidden gems.
The hidden gems.
What you're trying to say?
Yeah. All the good stuff. All the good stuff.
That's great.
Well, listen, thanks a million for stopping by. Really great to meet you, and good luck this week. It's a great opportunity for brands to think differently. So come meet, have a conversation.
That's what Cannes is all about, and that's all we want you to just think about, a different perspective, looking at things a little bit differently.
Amazing. Thanks a million. And of course, I got to chat and catch up with IAPI. They were at the same beach later in the day, of course, talking about how Ireland can be the creative hub for you. And I got to catch up with some amazing people down there. So let us check out all of that. At the end of the day here, there's been an amazing event here showcasing, I guess, Irish creativity and what Irish creativity can bring to the world. Can you tell me a bit about the panel and all that was going on?
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Connor, and thanks for having me on. I guess the role of, I suppose, IAPI as a business representative body for the advertising and communications industry in Ireland is to really try to enhance the reputation of that industry internationally as well. So that's probably at the core of what we're trying to do at Cannes Lion this week. And so today's event was to bring a discussion together with a number of different Irish representatives from at home and abroad to discuss how Irish creative talent is really shaping brands globally. Yeah. And so it's not just a domestic pursuit and is having actually an immense impact globally. And it's kind of built on a couple of things. Obviously, we have huge success in terms of our talent generally across business, but looking at kind of creative talent, it's built on a foundation of probably a lot of characteristics that we have in our DNA in Ireland. And a lot of that talent has gone abroad to work with brands and agencies, but also is based in Ireland too. And so I suppose the core of the conversation was really to discuss how Ireland actually is quite understated about its success as an international hub for creativity, and that we probably don't talk enough about it internationally. And it's to really try and go about a communications exercise to talk about the kind of original thinking and creativity that we're doing on a massive global scale from Ireland. And I guess that probably projects where we are as a country generally in terms of our business model. It's become so sophisticated over the last 2 decades for lots and lots of reasons that are well rehearsed. And creativity and our creative talent is kind of emerging on the back of that success. And potentially has a lot more to give.
100%. And I've talked about this before on the podcast, we are in our Irishness, we kind of don't big ourselves up enough, and we have amazing, I know the likes of Mark Shanley, Rory Gallery on the panel here, who have had as guests on the podcast, who are, as you say, Irish people doing amazing things abroad, but we also have amazing Irish people doing amazing work in Ireland, and not just for Irish clients either. It's kind of how the tentacles spread across the globe.
And that mix on the panel was really interesting because we had we also had Ronan Nulty, who's up for a Titanium Lion Award from Publicis Dublin. I mean, what an incredible success story, right? And, so many accolades during 2024 as well. We also had Jennifer English, who's a global brand director for Diageo, for Johnny Walker. And then we had Sinead Gill from Smurfit Westrock, and Smurfit Kappa, as it was known before this year, is just such an incredible success story for Ireland. It was just a great panel to hear those kind of stories from both brand side but also agency side around that kind of emergence of global talent. And I think the kind of themes that were coming through on that is the fact that we have this incredibly networked community in Ireland. So it's not just what we have in terms of the skill set and in our DNA, but it's also the resilience, the agility, the network, the fact that we actually have a lot of big global brands within Ireland anyway now. And that kind of convergence of all of those different elements really has kind of copper fastened this incredible success for our talent. It was really nice as well. Sinead Gill from Smurfit brought a cardboard lion over from Smurfit Westrock, which was quite cool.
That's very
cool. So a great discussion, and I guess when I walk away from those events, I always kind of ask, what was the impact? What was the impact? The thing we really need to achieve as an Irish community of business, right, is that we need to be communicating the same message in a consistent way internationally around the success story that creativity in Ireland has had, and that we can continue to build on that, and that we've all of the elements that any global brand requires in Ireland, and we can deliver on the best of the best.
And we need to do, I think, ourselves a better job of celebrating and marketing, because I've been at events with people like, oh yeah, that was great work, who did that? And people are like, I don't know who did that. And that's a real shame, because that doesn't do justice to the incredible talent that is doing incredible work. And we have to find ways of getting the stories out there of the amazing work.
And I don't think it's just about what the industry does to celebrate this, but I'm a big believer in ensuring that all stakeholders within society understand all of the different elements of what, makes up the Irish business model. And the advertising and communications element is incredibly important because it really helps propel brands. And changes behaviours in society. So, for example, one of the things that I would really like to see more of is I'd like to see government championing the industry and supporting the industry in their externalisation of Ireland, because we've had great success in talking about Ireland internationally, attracting amazing business and FDI into the country, and actually we can continue to do that, but in a very different way, and talk about Ireland not just around the fact that we're English speaking and we've got great tax incentives and all of the other things, but actually also this creativity and the original ideas is potentially a superpower for our business model in Ireland. And so I think that's a real opportunity for us.
100%. I was talking to somebody last night about, you look at the likes of, let's say, Amsterdam, where huge creative hub, and yes, we see lots of global brands positioned there, but there are global brands that are positioned in Ireland that, and I worked in one and they didn't use enough Irish agencies, and you're like, why? Why was an Irish agency not up with the 72 and Sunnies or whoever? I think it's a good question for us to challenge ourselves on all the time.
Yeah, and there's a real understanding within the industry of that potential, and since I've come into the role, I sense that people are galvanised within the industry around the story. And so the challenge now is to get that to other groups of stakeholders who can really try and, impress upon people, but also influence outcomes for us, and that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I remember.
It's gotta be a broader audience for me. That's our problem, right?
Yeah, 100%. But I think one of the dynamics that's changed in the Irish landscape has been when I worked in agencies, which is, long time ago, but it was people were kind of pulling each other down. That, for me, I think is gone. I think agencies are happy to celebrate each other, wish each other well when and that's great. But I think you're right. How do we broaden the context?
There's a bit of it that's the psychology, and it's how we talk about ourselves, and using kind of consistent messaging and articulating it in a really kind of confident and bullish way. That's part of it. But I genuinely believe we've got the substance to back it up, right? And so maybe our brand is to be a little bit more understated than, say, other jurisdictions. That's okay. But we've got to be known for the substance of the creativity we create, which has got huge global value. And it's a communications challenge.
Yeah,
ironically.
That's the great thing. Who better to fix the communications issue than a group of advertising experts? So
yeah, absolutely.
But you're new in the role. How is it all going? Is it 6 months maybe, or how are you finding everything?
I'm exactly in the role 4 months this week, so I'm loving it. I suppose my background is business representation, and I suppose leading trade associations is something that I've been involved in for a long time. I genuinely am really committed to this whole concept of business representation. I think there's huge value in it, and I think particularly at the moment where there's so much uncertainty and turmoil, not just in Ireland but globally, I think business has a real opportunity to try to anchor and to be a really stabilising force, because ultimately we create the resources for society, right? So we really can unlock that. And so that's exciting for me. In terms of the industry, I've certainly been met with huge warmth and positivity, and that's great. And I love that about this industry. And I just see huge potential for us to tell our story. Yeah,
well, it's brilliant. And, we've seen, I think, the path that IAPI have been on in the last number of years, and clearly just speaking to you here, and even when the appointment was announced, you could see, you're like, oh, that's a really smart move. And so you can tell you have a passion for bringing this forward, and that's what we need. And it's a wonderful team you have in IAPI, and so it's exciting start, and I think we all need to get behind it.
Thanks so much, Conor. I really appreciate that.
Listen, thanks a million for joining me. Appreciate it. I did manage to grab one more session in the Palais, and that was Adam Morgan and Karen Nelson Field, and we are going to interview them. Not here, Can, far too much going on. For both of them, we were challenged trying to find schedules, but we are going to follow up with them, so you'll hear all about the insights from Can here on That's What I Call Marketing, so definitely stay tuned for that. Of course, we are here for awards. That is a very important part of what we're here for, and it is brilliant to see Ireland showing up again in the awards here at Cannes, and it may not be a surprise to some of you, but here we go again. Heineken are at it again. They have won a silver line in the outdoor category for their pub succession with Le Pub Milan and Publicis Dublin. So a huge congratulations to everybody involved with that. I got to speak to Peter and Mark last year about their win. So other winners though, who else are the big winners today here at Cannes? Well, the Grand Prix for the pharma lines went to Make Love Last, Bedroom for Beatrice by Ogilvy in Shanghai. Health and Wellness line has gone to Vaseline Verified for Unilever by Ogilvy in Singapore this time. The Health and United Nations Grand Prix for Good has gone to the best place in the world to have herpes for New Zealand Herpes Foundation and the Motion Sickness Auckland. And so that is it really for the winners here today at the first day at Cannes. Great to get some overview stats from the press team here at Cannes. Health and Wellness had over 1,170 entries from 23 countries, and there are 33 awards from 15 countries, which is great to see. In print and publishing, there were 768 entries, 101 shortlisted from 17 countries with 23 awards in 13 countries. So great to see all those winners. I'm going to check the work out later on in the week and try see some of this work and share with you. As I was talking to Jen and Stephen earlier on, like one of the things we are here for is to get inspired by brilliant work. So I will try bring that to you as well throughout the week. So that is it for today's daily sessions. Do stay tuned all week, and we'll be keeping you up to date everything that is going on here at the Cannes Line Festival of Creativity. Thanks for tuning in to That's What I Call Marketing, the Cannes Sessions. Brought to you by Freedman International, the international campaign experts taking the pain out of your multi-market campaigns.